Frosty Saturday, not just in Edmonton, but it sounds like all across North America. The good thing about being cold in Edmonton, we're used to it. I'd hate to be in Texas right now. I'd hate to be in Tennessee and the Carolinas where a snowflake is a foreign substance. We're here in Edmonton. We're just used to freezing all the time. I'm your host, Paul Sir, here on Hoop City. Sports 1440, your sports leader in Edmonton. We have a fantastic show today. Excited to have in our studio today Ben Feldman, who is the head coach of the men's basketball program over at Ross Shep High School. But there's so much more that Ben does, and Ben is our community champion today, and we'll be interviewing him specifically about that when we get into the second section today. But first of all, let's get started with our good friend Josh Fenwick. Josh, how are you today, buddy? Oh, you're looking spry.
Yeah, well, so I was doing dry January, right? And my roommate hits me with it was his birthday 2 weeks ago. He says, we're having a party. And I find this out by getting an Evite from him. And I'm like, all right, party, my apartment. I can't do dry January that day. I have to do damp January.
So you took a mulligan?
So yeah. And you know, the way I'm feeling, it's like, yeah, I could go a couple weeks without drinking, at least a week.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of you. You thought you were thinking of others when you made your decision, Josh. So
yeah, well, I made sure Brandon texted me last night about his curling game to see if I had to come in for the setup or not, because that was also going to drastically dictate what I did last night.
So obviously you didn't have to do that.
I did not.
But you're here because you are a team player.
That is what I am. Yep.
That's what you do. You just give and give. Why don't we start out today with our poll question, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. So poll question today. You can find it on our Twitter, Hoop City Show, or our X account. And then it's also going to be in our YouTube comment section. So you can go to Sports 1440 AM and find it there. Poll question is, which of the following strategies should the Raptors employ with the trade deadline approaching? Should they trade Barrett quickly and draft picks for Giannis? Trade quickly and draft picks for John Morant? Trade Poeltl and RJ for Cat? Or should they just stay the course?
Interesting. I thought it was an interesting question because the trade deadline is looming. The Raptors are rolling. So it's, to me, all of the talk that's been bandied about by the Raptors, have led us to this point, and they just keep winning. And they win with and without injured players. Quickly's out. Comes back, gets 40. RJ's back. They roll again last night. Like, the Raptors look good. How do you tamper with that? But there are some anxious people out there. And I'm not saying Milwaukee is anxious, Ben, to get rid of Giannis, and Giannis doesn't sound like he's anxious to leave, but that's awfully tempting. And do you make some kind of dramatic move like that? And what would the net effect be when you've got a team that's playing so well?
I think teams that don't make a move at the deadline, I think, are always quite scrutinized. Especially if you're rolling, I feel like you still have to make a little push. I would probably stay away from John Morant. I think that's something.
You wouldn't want him in your locker room, would you?
I definitely would not.
Yes.
And I feel like in terms of player attraction, the international players seem to like playing in Toronto more than some of the U.S. players. So I think there's a market there for Giannis for sure.
Sounds like Giannis, certainly when Masai Ujiri was there, that Masai and Giannis have a wonderful relationship. But I don't see anything. To be honest, I think they're going to stay the course myself. I'd vote D right now. And by the way, you can text any questions that you have, observations, 833-401-1440. As I mentioned, we have a great show today. We have a special guest along with Ben. Our minister, the Alberta Minister of Sport and Tourism, Andrew Bointcheko, joined me for a conversation earlier this week. And the reason I thought it was so important to bring Minister Bointcheko on is he, along with people like Ben, are such an integral part of our community that make the difference in providing opportunities for people of all ages to play. And we can't undervalue the amount of contribution that the province of Alberta, along with other levels of government, other organizations, make to create this sports landscape that we've got. So in our second segment, in our segment after we talk with Ben, we'll be talking with Minister Bointcheko. And then I'm really excited about our deep dive today because we're bringing in a good friend of mine, Kevin Lehman. And Kevin is one of the broadcasters for the Missouri Valley Conference in the NCAA Division I. And Kevin's been doing it for 30 years. He coached Nick Nurse, the former Raptor, Philadelphia 76er coach, when he was at school at University of Northern Iowa. Of course, everybody knows my Iowa bias. But we're going to have Kevin in, and we're going to go really into the weeds about all that's going on in the NCAA. It's such a year, not just on the basketball court, but it's such a year of change and transition with NIL money, with the power teams becoming almost more powerful. And how does this affect mid-majors? How does this affect low majors? What does this do to JUCOs? It's really a fascinating time in collegiate sports. So Kevin's going to come in, and for 2 segments, we're really going to get after it. Now, I also have started publishing my weekly playlist. This week, it's 1967. I took 4 hits out of 1967, and I'm going to post them on my X account, and I'm going to include the top 100 that include great name bands. Of course, you know the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. But do you know the Electric Prunes band? Have you ever heard of the Electric Prunes?
A little bit before my time.
A little bit. Strawberry Alarm Clock. Everybody's heard of Incense and Peppermints by the Strawberry Alarm Clock. But anyway, I'm going to post that after the show. Last week, we gave away a T-shirt, and I hope the gentleman that we sent it to received it. If not, you'll get it soon. Remember, it's through Canada Post. It was sent. So cut me a little grace there. But I'd like to know from you, and again, 833-401-1440, which NBA legend do you want to discuss today and why? And we're going to do that in our last segment today. And if your player gets selected, we're going to send you a Hoop City T-shirt. I've got it on. If you see on YouTube right now, we got a great logo. It's a great shirt. We'll get your size, your address, and we'll mail it out to you. All right, Josh, let's get into 3 from Deep. Josh is back online. He is working it.
Oh, we're doing some work. Kids, don't drink. That's what I have to say to you right now. It messes everything up.
This is a life lesson.
Yes.
For everybody.
Life lesson.
I could have told you that, but you didn't reach out.
Well, what do you learn from that? What do you learn from just people telling you?
Yeah, that would be a tough lesson.
You have to learn it yourself.
Josh. That would be hard. You've got to go through it yourself. Like you've never before done that.
So this is. We also have an and one this week.
Yes,
we have
right.
an and one. So number 1, last night's NBA surprises. Denver topped Milwaukee. Indiana was over OKC in Oklahoma City. And the Raptors topped the Blazers.
All right, let's start with Denver over Milwaukee. And Josh, could you do me a favor? Could you look up online and read out the starting lineup that the Denver Nuggets had last night?
I sure can.
They won in a 102-100. Milwaukee's not strong. We know that, Ben. But Denver has been without the best player in the game for a long time now. And Jamal Murray has been missing games off and on. And last night, is it Peyton Watson? Is that the...
Peyton Watson is on fire. He was not a starter for them last night.
And he wasn't playing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind.
He did not play. So read their starting lineup.
Here we go. All right. So Aaron Gordon played 16 minutes. Zach Nagy, Spencer Jones, Jalen Pickett, Julian Strother.
How many of those names you may have heard of them if you're really into the NBA, Ben? But that's not a lineup you would expect to hear from the Denver Nuggets. There's no Braun. There's no Jamal. There is no Jokic, of course. There's no Watson, who, as you said, Josh, has been just tearing it up. And they go into Milwaukee and win and hold Giannis to 20. And Gordon plays 16 minutes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it just goes to show that guys step up when they need to.
Next man up.
Yep, absolutely.
You know that as a coach. That's what you tell your people, but in reality, oftentimes that isn't the case. So I just am so impressed with Denver and what they've been able to do the kind of record that they've amassed in Jokic's absence. It's really dynamic and exciting to think about, if they get healthy, how good this team could be as playoffs approach. But this, to me, was the upset of the year. Indiana in OKC, handling OKC. And that right now we're sitting in the studio and the highlights are coming up on our TVs in the studios. It wasn't like they held SGA down. He had over 40. Ryan Nembhard, our other Canadian, talk about Canadian content, was fabulous. I think he had 27. But what an upset. 10-win Indiana team goes into OKC. A, it shows how good the NBA is. B, it shows what kind of a coach Rick Carlisle is to keep his team focused, motivated, and playing hard. Because in spite of their record, it hasn't been because of a lack of effort. It's been because of a lack of talent and injuries that have been coming in and out. But to go into OKC last night, that's just fantastic. Raptors over Blazers. They didn't have Adija for the Blazers. That's a big hole to fill there. But still, Raptors go to Portland, get the win. You know what, Ben? They're a fun team to watch this year, I think. The Raptors are enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, they're just young, and I think they just bring a certain energy, and I think it's fun to just see that type of. I think no one took them serious.
And we're going to get into that in just a second. That's exactly right. All right, so let's go to question number 2. Josh, sorry to yank
you're good.
Away here.
No, all the work is done now. Number 2. The 3 best teams. Are they the Thunder, the Pistons, and the Nuggets?
And this is a midseason report card that we're doing here. So I selected these 3 as the best 3 teams. And it's hard because you've got other teams that you certainly have to take into account here. But even though the Thunder have struggled, it's more they've struggled in relationship to their 24-1 start. They're not struggling. They have the best record in the NBA. They're still the clear favorite to repeat as NBA champions. But, Ben, do you see a vulnerability here? Now, and we have to, always put the asterisks in. They've had injury issues. Hartenstein hasn't played for a long time. Williams is out again. Jalen Williams is out again. So they haven't been at full strength for a while. But one thing I have found that I think is their Achilles heel is still inconsistent, somewhat unreliable three-point shooting when teams, and they will do more and more of this, double up on Shea. It opens up wide open threes on the kick, but the ability to knock them down consistently, I think, is a bit of an Achilles heel for them.
Well, and I think, again, is OKC as strong as they've been, as strong as they are, again, are they going into the trade deadline not making the move to help with that situation? And I think that's something that's huge, especially in today's game. If you're not hitting threes, that's a big factor in the way the game is played now.
100%. And it's not like they don't have draft picks to trade. They got about 50.
Yeah.
So they've got, so they got them lying on the floor in the locker rooms. So it'll be interesting. Pistons have been a revelation. Tough. They find a way to win game after game. Cade Cunningham's been out a couple. They lost last night to Houston, but they're a very, very good team. And what a great turnaround from like literally the toilet 2 years ago. They lost 30, what was it, some ridiculous 38 in a row, or there was some ridiculous streak 2 years later. A la the Phoenix Suns, who have turned around nicely as well. The Pistons have been fantastic. And then I had to throw Denver here. I struggled with Denver or Boston on this, but I just think Denver's been so impressive without Jokic to do what they've done and piecing their lineups together. It really is a reflection of a championship mindset and culture in that franchise. And I just think teams like OKC, teams like Denver, teams like Pistons are so good for the league. They play hard, they work together, they play to win every night. It's really refreshing. Let's go to number 3.
Number 3, the 3 most surprising teams. Are they the Spurs, Celtics, and Raptors?
Well, I think the Spurs are ahead of the curve. I think we're expecting them to be better this year. I didn't think we expected them to beat OKC 3 games in a row like they did. And they've been up. I wouldn't say they've been up and down. They've been in every game. They're not like because they beat OKC, Ben. They're not that team you go, yeah, they beat OKC. They're now the front runner in the West. They're not that. Wemby is amazing. You can't even begin to describe what this guy at who was saying that he's not 7'4"? Like, that's ridiculous. He's 7'6". Yeah. He might, whatever it is, it's amazing to watch. It's incredible to watch. However, what still is making him best, and Ben, you played post. There's nothing harder than when you get that reluctant post player that wants to step outside and shoot the three. Wemby seems, though, to have embraced the post more so this year, hasn't he?
I think that's important for him, right? Because I think with his length and his height, obviously, it changes the game, and it's gonna draw post presence for other players on the team to kind of take advantage of that open space. So
inside
I think that's
out
huge.
cuts,
100%.
all of those things.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics have been an incredible success story this year. Jaylen Brown has, through the quality of his play, thrust himself deservedly into the MVP discussion now. And the Raptors, of course, my gosh, the Raptors. I don't think anybody, Josh, did you expect this from the Raptors this year?
No, I really didn't. They're ahead of schedule, essentially. I'm blown away by them.
Well, and I go back to saying I like watching them. And for me, the eye test is a testament to teams that play hard, play together, and share the basketball. And the Raptors do all of those things. The guy I'm still getting used to is Ingram. He's really good. Something about him bugs me. I'm not sure if it's his demeanor and just the way it rubs on me. So I don't want to project that on that too much because that could just be a personal taste thing. I always go back to the water bottle incident where he threw the water bottle, it bounced up, hit the kid in the face, and he didn't even acknowledge it. To me, but he's playing really well. The fact that he's healthy, looks like he's a good teammate on the court. He must be a good teammate off the court because the players look like they enjoy playing together, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, you hope someone with that kind of talent, but he's been around the league for a long time, right? And again, with the low expectations for the Raptors and maybe the rebuild that maybe isn't now such a rebuild,
right?
Maybe it's kind of just reemerged him to just be more of a presence. But yeah, you definitely hope that you get more out of someone to be a better teammate and maybe just a better ambassador of the team for the Raptors, especially.
100%. Canadians like good ambassadors, that's for sure. I am curious to see if the Raptors will do anything with Jakob Poeltl. I mean, Poeltl's injury problems are, now problematic. Although, I always forget how to pronounce his name. What do they call him? Mamo, the Serbian kid that plays the
Mamu.
Mamu.
I cannot pronounce his last name.
I love him. He had 22 again last night. Like, the guy can score. He's a smart European-style player that when he comes in, he puts points up on the board. And so the Raptors have been able, I think, to duct tape a bit. Grady Dick is a little more of a factor here. One criticism of the Raptors is inconsistent three-point shooting. That's why they drafted him. And I know there's a lot of regret because there's some other picks that they could have taken at that time. So I think Grady Dick has to continue to insert and assert himself in this lineup and be a contributor because they're going to need that going down the stretch. And I hope RJ and Quickly can stay healthy because when they play, the Raptors are tough. RJ's having, I think, his best season by far. And our and one here, Josh.
Yeah, I just want to add in that the Raptors are well above 500 when RJ is playing, and they are 11-12 without RJ. So he is a big key
Tells
to
the
their
tale.
Big
Tells
key
the
to their
tale.
winning. And one, three most disappointing teams. Are they the Cavaliers, the Magic, and the Golden State Warriors?
Well, I'll start with the team that I'm personally the most disappointed in, and that's the Magic, because this was supposed to be their year. Now, again, in all three cases, you have to put the injury asterisks by their name because they have not had complete lineups. Cavs, I think that the expectations were the highest for them this year after the magnificent 60-plus win season they had last year. They've been flat, and they've been unpredictable. Magic, we'll see. Once Wagner gets completely healthy, if Suggs ever can stay healthy for more than 5 games. I mean, what a bullet was dodged there when the Raptors drafted Scotty Barnes instead of Jalen Suggs. Like that was, you got to give Masai Ujiri kudos for that one. But Golden State, the asterisk I put by them is one with, if I had to use an emoji, I'd have one with the sad face, because it's like, they're old.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler now is out for the season. They have Kuminga has been a problem child from all offseason into this year. He finally gets in the game. He's hurt again. Curry is going off, playing some of the best basketball of his career. I just feel for the Golden State Warriors. Steve Kerr, phenomenal human being, one of the great coaches of all time. But I look at Cavs and I go, you guys should be better. I look at the Magic and go, you guys have been talking smack for a long time. This is going to be your year. You're not getting it done. Golden State, yeah, that's just too bad.
It's hard to see. It's hard to see because that's the end of an era, right?
It is. It is. And not a glamorous end.
No.
Kind of sputtering to the end.
Yeah.
And so, but hey, that's professional sports. The injury bug hits everybody hard. And I'm really excited about the second half of the season because now you see teams like the Clippers coming on. I mentioned the Blazers. I'm not on the Blazers bandwagon, but I am on Adija's bandwagon because he can really play. I don't know if you've seen him play, Ben. But
not enough, no.
I'm telling everybody, when the Blazers are on TV and he's healthy, watch them and him play. Shaedon Sharpe, the Canadian, career year, playing really, really good basketball. But Adija, he's really good. Like, he's emerging as a star. And he's another one of those guys, kind of like SGA, where the team that drafted him gave up on him too early and kept him and made him trade bait, and now they're paying for it. That's what Washington, the hapless Washington franchise, did with him as well and traded him over to Portland. We're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Ben Feldman, who's in our studio. He is our community champion this week. You are listening to the Sports Leader, Sports 1440. This is Hoop City with Paul Sir. All right, I got to give you a couple of quick musical tidbits here. I'm a Believer by the Monkees. The Monkees, in 1966, were the first made-for-TV boy band that was constructed to capture the Beatlemania. So they hired these guys, these 4 guys. One was a Canadian, Peter Tork, to be on a show. It was a comedy show. If you watch anything on YouTube, it's just absolutely terrible. It was bad then, but it was fun and it was contemporary. And they had success as musicians, even though they never played any of the instruments in the studio for any of their recordings. But they were all accomplished musicians. But here's my favorite bit of trivia, Ben, about the Monkees. Do you know who opened for them in one of their concerts? Jimi Hendrix.
Really?
So can you imagine Jimi Hendrix, Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, opening for I'm a Believer, Last Train to Clarksville. But anyway, that's part of our 1967 hit celebration today. We started last week, and I'm I'm really pleased with this. Every week we're going to do our Community Champions segment. And this is sponsored by Randy Parrish and his team at Innovative Benefits. If it's time for you to review your corporate benefits, your personal insurance plans, and investment strategies, talk to Randy and his team at Innovative Benefits. They will give you straightforward, honest advice with access to the best products in the industry. Trust the great folks at Innovative Benefits to do what's best for you, your family, and your business. To find out more, go to innovativebenefits.ca. Randy and his team are fantastic people. Ben Feldman in the studio with me. I met Ben when he was a young man, very young man, when he was at Ross Shepherd High School. And I have to tell you, and Ben, I mean this with all sincerity, I am not blowing any smoke on this at all. You stood out right from the first time I met you, to me, that there was a special spirit, a special personality, a special person in that young man that I met. And you have not swayed me from that impression. That impression has remained true. Ben is now teaches and coaches. He's the head coach of a very strong Ross Shepherd men's basketball team. But Ben, that's not the reason I wanted you to come into the studio and talk today as our community champion. What you talk about walking the walk. Ben, you walk the walk. You go above, beyond. You do the little things, the thankless things. And the thing I've always known about you, Ben, is everybody who's involved in sports says, I'm doing it for the kids. Most of them kind of mean it, and a lot of them don't. You do, because you go above and beyond. Ben, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, you played at Ross Shep for Coach Dave Youngs. Talk about your experience playing in high school?
Well, actually, not really. So it's actually a funny story. So I maybe could have actually played for Dave Youngs. See, I don't know. A lot of people don't know this. Yeah, this is actually interesting. So I actually never tried out for the team in grade 10.
Okay.
So I was pretty young. So I was a end of February baby.
Okay.
And I started school early. So when I was in grade 10, I should have been in grade 9, and obviously, so I was a year younger. And battled confidence and belief in myself, which a lot of young adults, whether they're younger, the age they're supposed to be.
Well, particularly tall guys. I mean,
big guys they mature a bit later, and for me, it definitely was a lot later.
Well, I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, now, great. So now I have to keep. I know it's going to be a long process. Hey, well, you look for 45. I mean, you're looking pretty good.
Yeah. Thank you. Talk about blowing smoke.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
Continue.
So you know what? So I never actually tried out in grade 10 on the junior team, and then and I was a late bloomer to basketball as well. I was a hockey first kid, and my parents were both immigrants from the former Soviet Union. So I didn't start. I never really got into like a lot of other families here were pushing, like higher level hockey. I played rec hockey, basketball. I played community basketball. I never got into the big scene. Not that club was big at the time, but there was the grads and other scenes for that. So anyways, grade 11 though, summer going to grade 11, I went, you know what? I want to try out. I want to play on the team here at Shep. And as you know, former coach Mike Lina, another big man, he was the coach, relatively intimidating fella, but I wanted to give it a go, and actually I trained really hard that summer. And anyways, long story short, ended up making the team as a grade 11 for the junior team. And then just, it didn't pan out. He's a pretty intimidating guy. For those who don't know who Mike Lina is, he's a guy. He's big Irishman,
6'9", 6'10",
former pronghorn. He was a very intense coach, and
vocal,
very very vocal. And again, the thing is that always scared people was he was loud.
Yes.
But it wasn't negative. A lot of the time, it was not negative. But obviously, when you hear someone who's loud, you go,
Mike has a booming voice, yes. No doubt about it.
So the amount of letters home from visiting teams and parents was through the roof, I think, at the time for him. So anyways, I was just, it was a lot for me at the time. And I was struggling in school. And you know what? I ended up quitting the basketball team. It was I think it's funny. To me, it's the journey. Right, it's
absolutely,
and that's kind of, I think, what led me to where I am now as a teacher, as a coach, as a person, is that decision, right? And I so going into grade 12, I would go to the open gyms that Dave Youngs was hosting with the senior boys and the junior boys, and I felt like I was going to try out, and didn't end up pulling the trigger. I just just that belief in myself was not there, that confidence, and that was something that like I said, I struggled with, and didn't end up playing, but was very involved with the team. I was very much, I was at every game. I was kind of like a super fan. And again, just, it was something that I regretted. I don't hold that regret as much because, again, I'm big on the journey and the things that happened to lead up to where I am now. But at the time, that was something I really regretted. And even Dave told me, Dave Youngs even said, he said, I thought you were going to try out. Like, what are you thinking? Like, we needed you. And again, at the end of the day, that's just where it goes. But I became coaching. I started coaching with the Thunderbirds after I graduated 2 years later. So I think 3 years later, actually. So 2009, I started coaching. 2008, 2009, I started coaching the junior team, and here we are now.
Well, and you know that I think you hit on the essential element to life. Yeah. It is the journey, whether you want it to be or not. Whether you look back and say, I did the right thing or I didn't do the right thing, they all kind of get thrown in the pot. And you have to then discern and take the lessons from it and make the most of it, which I believe it's fair to say, Ben, you have. I remember you when you got started at that time. Yeah. That was right around when I was starting at the Alberta Basketball Association as their executive director. I was working with the then Edmonton Energy at the time. And again, you could see there was that commitment on your part that you were going to give it 100%. What motivated you now, A, to go into teaching, and B, was it your hope, was it your dream that you would be at Ross Shepherd High School? Was that part of your plan? Was that a goal of yours? Or did this just happen organically and it just kind of worked out that way?
Yeah, great question. You know what, in terms of teaching, I don't know what really propelled me to teach. I just knew that was something I always wanted to do. I mean, I didn't really have any other aspirations, and I always loved sports. I always loved the game of basketball, and I always loved working with kids. Like even as a high school kid, I was watching some of the kids at the YMCA in the West End, and I'd be working with them because I'd be watching how Dave Youngs or Bruce McLeod would be coaching kids, and I'd be like, hey, you got to work on this. So I think it just was something that I think sometimes teaching is a really it's in your DNA, and your wife is a teacher, a substitute teacher, and I think you can probably agree with that, right? Where not everyone can do it, not everyone can coach, and I just think there was just something there, and being part of and giving back to community and to people was always something that was ingrained in me.
Ben Feldman from Ross Shepherd High School, head men's basketball coach, but much, much more, is joining us here on Hoop City with Paul Sir, along with Josh Fenwick. As you were explaining that about some people just being in their DNA to coach, I mean, I've got a son that teaches as well, daughter-in-law teaching at Ross Shep. I taught for 2 years.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, thank goodness it got me out of there. But you're right. But what I'm hearing is that there's almost, in terms of influences in your life, there's almost a process of osmosis where if you are inclined towards something, you will hear what Dave Youngs, the longtime great coach at Ross Shep, Bruce McLeod, longtime assistant of Dave's, you start absorbing that, and like you say, you then recognize situations where what they showed you applies to what you can show someone else. But then you have to have the inclination, and this is where I think your instinct is really accurate. And you have to have the inclination to, at that point, share it. It's one thing to see it. It's another thing to share it in such a way that you, most of the time, somebody who hears it will be receptive. Is that a fair observation?
Well, the biggest thing I think is just I was very observant over little details,
yes.
Right? Like I always felt like I was paying attention to these little details of coaches and like the Dave Youngs, is the Mike Linas, like even watching you when you were involved with the Energy, like just being around good people. I think you just pick up on little things, and I had a lot of great teachers and mentors in my life. Whether especially at Ross Shepherd, and again, you just pay attention to these things, and I think it's important to. I've always felt that giving back is super important, and for me, coaching was something that just was a natural fit. Especially with, I think my story, I think it's just good to really get kids to not quit and to persevere, which is something that is very common, right? Things get tough, especially now. I feel like kids have a lot on their plate. Right.
They have a lot on their plate, and I think it's it's an interesting psychological tendency has permeated all culture, but I would even say sports culture, that if it's not working for you, walk away from it. If it's not working for you, switch teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, heck, you see it in the college basketball, and that's trickling down. The ability to leave, to move, because things just don't suit you completely, have displaced you got to persist. You got to fight through adversity. You've got to work your way up. You've got to earn your time. All of those things. Do you find that both as a teacher and a coach, Ben, that is a bigger challenge to communicate with young people today?
Without a doubt, unfortunately. And again, I assume that was always a thing. It's just different now, right?
It's more common, and the options are so limitless now.
And again, the kids see it. Kids see it that, I can change schools, I can change club teams, I can do all these different things. And I think it's super important for kids to have someone, especially a non-parent, because let's be honest, I get this all the time as a teacher. I get parents saying, I ask my kids this all the time. I talk to them, I tell them, they don't listen, but they listen to you.
That's universal.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's timeless. That has nothing to do with anything, because that is you're finding that out as a parent as time goes on. You're right.
Yes. So I know my kids are really little right now, so I know that will happen eventually.
Yes.
But it's just, I think that's super important for me. And for me as a basketball coach at Ross Shepherd, I'm an educator first. And that's the tricky thing. It's not my business for me as a coach, I'm trying to teach first, and I would love to win. I'm unbelievably competitive. But for me, it's not my business to go and recruit kids or to promise things. My job is to teach them to be good men, good people, and learn that through basketball.
Well, you do that very well, and you emanate that in how you communicate with your kids and how you communicate with your peers. So final question, Ben. Ben Feldman, Ross Shep High School, head men's basketball coach and mentor to many, many young people. If you, as you look forward, as you look at your career unfolding, do you see yourself doing more coaching for a longer period of time, or do you see yourself moving into admin at a more formal level? Like, obviously you have passion for both teaching and coaching, but where do you see this taking you?
Yeah, that's a great question. My principal at Ross Shepherd is Rick Stanley, former Golden Bear, which you know very well.
Yep.
Very great player, great coach, been around the game for a long time. And he obviously at some point made the switch to go into the more admin side. Now he's in leadership. At this point, I definitely can tell you I don't see administration. I'm currently I just got hired as the department head of physical education at Ross Shepherd. So that's a cool, thank you. Yeah, so that's a really cool new step in my life and a new challenge. And I think it's important to reinvent yourself. But in terms of basketball, this is my first year coaching the senior boys, and I never was waiting for Dave Youngs to retire. I always felt that he could coach as long as he needed. I was happy coaching the junior boys for.
Well, I was letting the air out of his tires, to make sure he got out of there as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Come on, Youngs, get going. No.
Exactly. So thank you for that. So then Ryan Dunkley took over for a couple years. Again, another former Golden Bear. So it just happened. And I have a young family. I have 3 kids at home, and it's busy. All about that. And, my wife is unbelievably supportive. But right now, I really want to focus on being a department head and coaching that senior boys team for as long as I can until, and again, I hope it works for my family. But my wife is, every great male coach. I won't speak on the female coaches, but male coaches who have families and who are married. You're only.
It's a family commitment.
It is, and my wife she works so hard, and I'm so appreciative. And I know when the season's done, the list of things to do and will be long and tedious.
Deservedly so.
Yes.
But I think I'm so glad to hear that is what your intent is moving forward. That your focus is at that. I wish you all success. Certainly on the court for the remainder of the season, but more importantly than that, Ben, just in life in general, I appreciate all that you do for your team, for your school, for the community. You are so deserving to be our community champion today, and thanks so much for coming in to the studio and spending this time with us.
Thanks for having me, Paul. It's an honor, and I'm so glad to see you here with this show. It's awesome. And Josh, you got to keep Josh in line clearly.
We're going to have to set some restrictions up. I think Friday night curfews are going to have to be put into place. Okay. It's what it was like getting into bed and where that bed might have been. But we digress. So, Ben, thank you again for being here. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Paul. Thank you.
You're listening to Hoop City on Sports 1440. When we come back, we have a special guest, the Minister of Tourism and Sport, Andrew Bointcheko, will join us. Sports 1440, your sports leader in Edmonton. Now, we talk about it takes a village to raise a child. We've heard that many times, but it takes a lot of different parties, a lot of different people to provide opportunities for people of all ages across our cities and our province to make sporting participation possible. And one of the key partners and leaders in this area is the province of Alberta, the government of the province of Alberta. And I'm pleased to welcome today, and honored, in fact, to have our Minister of Tourism and Sport from the province of Alberta, the Honourable Andrew Bointcheko, joining us here on Hoop City. Minister Bointcheko, welcome and thank you.
Well, thank you, Paul. It's absolutely a pleasure to meet with you, and both online here, and also being invited to the games 3x3 was playing in Alberta here. And I'm very honored to have you as a partner with our government, and I totally admire the work you're doing in the sports. I'm very passionate about sports in general, and basketball and 3x3 was absolutely amazing. Something new that I've first time been when you invited me. So I'm actually looking forward to join further games and help participate and be a partners with you as well.
Well, thank you for that very much, Minister Bointcheko. And Minister, you joined us at our Hoop City Festival this past summer at West Edmonton Mall. It was over the August long weekend. It was a fantastic show, I would say, in bringing athletes from all over the world, including, of course, our great Canadian women's team, who won the event, one of the top teams in the world, and will be one of the threats for an Olympic medal in Los Angeles in 2028. None of this could have happened, however, without the support of the provincial government. Minister, in your opening comments, you talked about your being passionate about sport. Where does that passion come from? What's your background, not just in sport, but what's your background that has led you to this portfolio for the provincial government?
Well, I want to start with this, that I was never a professional sports player, but I grew up in Europe playing soccer on a daily basis. So when I came to Canada here, started my own family, all three of my kids were participating in sports, and I was involved with coaching, helping them, and training them as well, both soccer and hockey for my middle son, and a little bit of rugby for my daughter. So the
multi-sport family.
Well, yeah, and just to let you know as well, I play basketball, but I'm very passionate also in volleyball as well. In fact, I think this is the longest I've ever played sport in one period. Like I can play hours and hours and hours of volleyball. So I'm very passionate about the sport. But what's important to mention, my vision for the province in general, that the more access kids have to sports, to play sports, to get involved in sports, to participate in sports, and to belong, the less trouble kids we're going to have on the street. And I'm driven by that passion, and I share that with Premier, and hence the conversation started for us, for me particularly, to run the tourism and sports because of that passion. I believe that instead of building Taj Mahal, one big complex in one spot in the province, we should build 10, 20 smaller opportunities across the province so that kids, youth, and people generally can participate in sports to prevent our healthcare system, because we know that the more people play sports, the healthier they stay. The more kids and youth participate in sports, the less we have troubled and bad kids on the street. So my passion is to get as many youth, kids, and people in sports as much as we can in our province.
No, let's talk a little bit about that, Minister Bointcheko. I love the vision. I love the idea of what I guess the way I would paraphrase it is not necessarily flashy facilities, but spending the money on the participation space as opposed to the architecture and the amenities, because anybody that's traveled to various countries around the world, many people who have done that have seen that is how a lot of countries that have very, very robust participation numbers have gone about building their community sports facilities. Talk about what the province is doing to make this happen in communities around our great province in Western Canada.
Well, we have various different programs that we invest and participate. We have Every Kid Can Play, active community initiatives, and government of Alberta spends millions of dollars. We invested $2.5 million in the major sport events grant program to support national and international competition and tournaments right here in the province. And I guess you were guys part of that as well. $5 million to help bring the upcoming 2027 IIHF into the province. $4.5 million to support the CFR in Edmonton. Also, the 2027 IHF are expected to generate $90 million economic activity in the province here as well. So we look at this as we investing into the province, we're investing into our youth and our sports in the province, but also, we also look and see it also pays back to the province in many folds, right? Financially, but as well as health-wise, keeping our youth healthy. To the ICI, we invested $7 million just last year to support 14 projects across the province. So our grant programs are vastly invested in the province to support our communities. One other, I would like to also mention that $8 million this year was spent to help get every kid in the game. That's Every Kid Can Play program. And we supported through that over 130 sports and communities organizations across the province. So province is very supportive, but also participating financially quite a bit to allow kids to get in the game and also building facilities to sustain those games in the province here.
I'm speaking with the Minister of Tourism and Sport, Andrew Bointcheko, here on Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440. Minister, you've laid it out, I think, very, very well. Not only that, all of the good that sport does for our communities in terms of physical health, mental health, bringing communities together, providing facilities. I know from personal experience that I've been in the basketball world for a long, long time, many decades in the province of Alberta, and I've always been grateful for the support that the province has provided to the various endeavors I've had the good fortune of being a part of. What's your vision for Alberta as a sports and tourism community moving forward? Is it sounds like it's a healthy combination of participation opportunities for our kids, for all of our citizens across the province, but there is an important economic portion to this as well, and that is the sports tourism world that Alberta is trying and is very successful at participating in.
Well, Paul, I want to start with this. I want to mention how important it is to work with people like you who dedicate their time and lifelong, commitment to the sports to help us help the province. Provincial government and so on going out there and looking for facilities and teams to support. It's not an easy task, but partnering with coaches and with people driven by sport, who's committed like you throughout your life cycle, through your life long commitment to the sports is what's helping us to participate meaningfully in the province. Because with people who organize these games, people who actually organize the community and teams and bringing together even folks from other countries. When I went to your event, I was surprised to see international participation in the Hoop City 3x3 that I visited, that, you're investing your time, effort to organize it. And we are partnering with people like you to help distribute the funding and support of our province. So our vision is to grow that. Our vision is to make sure that more Albertans can participate and be part of the sports activities. And we're looking to grow that participation numbers.
Well, Minister Bointcheko, I think the way that you've laid it out is that healthy, robust partnership approach of collaboration, working arm in arm, hand in hand, trying to make the province a better place for people to live and to bring opportunities to all people. We know the stats, we know the numbers of new Canadians, new Albertans that are coming into our province. And it's imperative to all of us that we provide these outlets for these new citizens, for these new residents to be able to participate, to become part of our community. And the province of Alberta, all of your efforts, the money that's being spent and the good intentions and the goodwill that's being built with people like myself. And when you say I've been involved a long time, that's because I'm really old, but that's okay. It's a great pleasure and a great privilege to be collaborating with you. So final thoughts, Minister, because I know your time is precious. But if you had a message for Albertans about what the province of Alberta wants for them, what would that message be?
Well, my message and my goal is to increase access to sport for Albertans across the whole province, and also increase access for athletes who want to come to Alberta to compete, participate in sports, and also motivate people to get into sports, to start their active lifestyle. And we have a lot of talent in the province. And you know that a lot of Albertans competing internationally in Olympics, and they bring medals home. So my message will be this: we want to increase the access, but we also want people to step up, participate, and get involved. And I want to say thank you to you, Paul, for your passion and your commitment to what you do for our province. This is going to leave a meaningful impact on many Albertans, and I'm honored and pleased to be partners with you, and looking forward to work in partnership.
Thank you for those kind words, Minister Bointcheko. We look forward to your being out at our 3x3 event again this year. We appreciate all the support and really appreciate taking the time today. I know you're extremely busy, so it means a lot, not just to myself, but certainly to our listeners and our viewers, to see the kind of enthusiasm and passion that you bring and the commitment that you represent from the province of Alberta for the betterment of sport in Alberta. Thank you, Minister Andrew Bointcheko.
Thank you, Paul, for having me. I'm looking forward for more interviews and for more games to be to witness and be part of. And I have a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to do more work with you, Paul. Thank you.
We're going to get you out on the 3x3 court yet, Minister, that's for sure. So, Minister Andrew Bointcheko, Minister of Tourism and Sport for the province of Alberta, joining us here on Hoop City with Paul Sir on your sports leader, Sports 1440.